Tell me, we're at the 2018 MIPAD. How does it feel?
Well, I'm very honored and humbled. You know, it's a good thing when people recognize you not just because of acting, but because of the other things that you do. You know, as an African, to help other Africans, no matter where you live in the world, and they just honor you for doing what you do. That's a great feeling. And I've had the opportunity to meet wonderful, brilliant minds from all over the world, and it's just very humbling for me to be in this room with this caliber of people right now. So yeah.
Okay, so why do you think awards or programs like MIPAD are important, especially in the African community?
For us as Africans, we go through a lot. It's difficult to be us in the world of today. And to be awarded for that is a plus. It just gives you that boost that you need to continue to push, to continue to do what you do. Because all over the world, it seems like Africans are a bit discriminated against, marginalized and all of that. So when we are able to come together and honor ourselves and promote ourselves and celebrate ourselves, it gives us that joy, a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and knowing that if you don't give up and keep doing what you do, someday soon the world will recognize who we are.
You got recognized for all your work in media. Tell me about it. How does it feel?
Well, in actual fact, it's a teamwork because our show called Your View got nominated in the category of Teamwork Makes the Dream Work.
Wow.
And the idea is to emphasize the importance of having people work together. And that while one person can do a whole lot, when you have a team supporting you, you can do much more. Highlighting how important that is within the media space is really, really great because we've been doing the show Your View in Nigeria for 5 years. And what we've been doing most importantly is to create a platform for people to air differing views. So it's not about all of us just agreeing on one thing, but creating a platform that would allow anybody say what they feel per time and be heard and be accepted and not be judged. And that's what we're trying to do. And we talk about politics, we talk about current affairs, we talk about family, we talk about relationships, and people tend to like when we talk about relationships because we're like a group of 5 women talking about relationship. There are different views. Yeah, it is actually.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You were also honored today. How does it feel?
It's very humbling, the fact that something that for me is so necessary in our country, something that is just a duty, has been put on the global stage, and the recognition we're receiving for something which, I repeat, for me is just a duty and something that I felt as someone who has worked in the financial services industry for a long time, I needed to share with my people how banks work, how the system works, how the economics work, so that they're empowered to make decisions that help them transform their activities, their economic activities into wealth, because we know that on the African continent, although we are economically active, we haven't actually attained collateral and wealth, and I want to play my part in changing that.
Amazing. Can I hire you as my coach?
No problem. I'll invoice you though.
Okay, no problem.
I'm an American that's based here in the United States, but I spend a lot of time in and on the continent of Africa. Since 2006, I've been working on the continent. And I can't think of any place else that I'd rather spend my time, both in humanitarian efforts, in the efforts of education, health, well-being, and particularly women and children. That's really my platform.
Okay, amazing. So what made you want to work in the continent?
Well, actually, I started in entertainment. I went there in 2006 in October during the independence of Nigeria, and I actually went back in December of 2006 and I launched my entertainment company there. So I started in entertainment and marketing, working with a lot of the talent, and because I saw the talent was so strong, and I said, okay, I can work with this. So that's where I've been since 2006, working on the continent with various artists. Everyone pretty much knows me because I spend most of my time working with DeBange. So I've been working with DeBange as far as with DKM, DeBange's projects, and then also now we have the new app that's called Cream, or the Cream platform. So we're helping to develop the entertainment sector throughout the continent of Africa, being able to find new talents and being able to help those talents to grow.
I can't know myself without knowing you folks. I got to know elements of my culture elsewhere in the Americas. I got to know that I had a culture in Fuman, in Cameroon, in Central Africa. So without all that, I certainly couldn't have gotten to meet all those folks in Turkey and India, all of whom are about affirming their identities, about being part of a larger collectivity. And so I am thrilled to be here with you folks now, and I wish I were under 40, maybe I would have gotten it.
Let's give Dr. Walker one more round of applause. Dr. Walker. I recently got my ancestry back. What's your ancestry?
Oh, really? Oh God, how long have we got? Because mine's like the United Nations, literally. I'm very mixed, and so do I have to go?
Maybe, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the African side. So we have to just break it down. So 25% West African, which was Morocco, Ghana, Mali, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Gambia. Yes.
Wow. I was excited. I'm from North Carolina, so you know.
Tell me, have you done yours, right?
I did mine.
Yeah, what's yours gonna be more? Like, I already kind of knew, so you're gonna be more.
Well, in North Carolina, they would say, "Oh, you mixed." In North Carolina, right? In New York, they'll say, "Are you Dominican?"
I was gonna say, I thought you were Latino, but.
No say. So 24% Cameroon, Congo, 24% Benin, Togo, and 19% Scandinavia.
Wow.
And then the rest are like less than 5%, you know, in many other places.
Yeah, I had like 1% Papua New Guinea.
Wow. We got someone. They're here.
Have we got someone?
Yeah.
No way. Who?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Walker, for the work that you're doing. It's incredible work. Thank you very much. Give her a round of applause one more time, Dr. Walker.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're important because they basically bring together leaders and captains of industry who have the same passion for developing the continent and our people as you do, and who can actually bring that expertise that would ordinarily be very far away from you. So, for instance, one of my big, hairy, audacious goals is to actually start a bank, a developmental bank that actually takes the 1 billion rands that is available in the Chama or Stokvel or, you know, informal savings market in South Africa, and actually create a platform where those funds are then made available to loan small and enterprises and entrepreneurs who wouldn't ordinarily get those loans or access to that funding or capital from the banks. So if the money is already sitting in our communities, why aren't we using it to develop and empower our communities and give a better return to the very same investors that is sitting in?
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much.
It's only a pleasure.
The idea of MIPAD is beyond just being an award. The idea of MIPAD outlives the award ceremony, and which for me is a big deal because they're trying to bring in Africans within Africa and Africans in diaspora. And I have had 3 days of leadership training, and it's been phenomenal. I've gotten to meet people that I probably would never have met before within Africa and those that are of the diaspora, Caribbeans. It's been very interesting. The conversation has been centered around how can we grow Africa? How can we deploy the intelligence and the leadership skills we've learned, take it back home? So the statement that keeps reoccurring is that we have global recognition and local impact. You know, global recognition, local impact. So I definitely am excited about all that this award presents, especially the leadership training that we got. With the intention of deploying this leadership training into my locality, Nigeria specifically anyway, and see how partnerships from this ceremony would add value at home. And it always does, because I've learned a lot with a group of people and I've bonded really nicely.
Congratulations, of course, for receiving your MIPAD. So what have you been up to? Let's catch up.
A lot. I have 2 podcasts that I'm doing. I'm writing. I'm consulting now. I teach body language for business. I teach acting. I'm also doing movies. I've done 3 major movies. the first movie that we produced in America is about to be screened at the Glen Film Festival in LA this weekend. I'm actually traveling tomorrow. So it's just been one thing after the other. We have to keep going. We can't slow down. We can't stop. yeah, yeah. So.
Amazing. So, if you had to give anyone advice, especially for getting into the entertainment industry, what would you tell them?
Before you get in, know who you are. Know who you are, know yourself, understand yourself and what you stand for. Because it's a world that has a glass in front of you. You are seeing a reflection of what other people have put on there for you to see. But if you don't see your own reflection, you will get lost. You will be so lost that finding yourself becomes difficult. And that's why a lot of entertainers fall into depression. Because other people want to define you and tell you how to live. And you will not know because you're not in it. But when you're in it, you're pulled everywhere, dragged everywhere. People make you feel like you're all that. But without all the accolades, who are you? So know yourself before you get in.
We've recently been able to have a lot of success with the platform. And so the band has some really, really major things that's going on where we're going to be able to help even more people on a global scale. And that's his aim. His aim has always been to give visible hope to people. So it's one thing to be able to talk, and as they say in Africa, to give mouth, but it's another thing to actually have hands-on and being able to put forth that effort to help others.
So I'm gonna throw this question out there, being that you live in Nigeria, of course, right? So the elections are coming up. What are your impressions?
This election is going to go the same way the last election went in 2012 and 2003. It's not going to be anything grand or it won't be anything earth-shattering. It would likely go the same way where people would feel their opinions didn't count and some people wouldn't come out to vote. But I think that we shouldn't just look at the next 1 year, 2019. But my goal is to try to get people to get more politically aware and get more politically involved, because when we don't have much option, what would you say? But if we can get more young people into becoming aspirants and candidates of parties, then we might have less voter apathy and have more involvement of the young people in this election. But for this one, I don't expect anything grand to happen. I feel that it will just be the regular thing. I would campaign for my preferred candidate. I have a very strong feeling he might not win, but I wouldn't lose hope over Nigeria. I feel that we mustn't give up on our country, Nigeria. Yeah, I won't.
Keep hope alive, people. That's what she's saying, basically. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you so much.
This is the beginning of a new Africa. I wasn't here when they came in, but I'm glad to hear that he came in the way I knew he will come in. I have serious hope for this couple, for this man sitting next to me and his wife. And I pray that Africa, through their example, will begin to change and that we can begin to see what true governance is. I know they will not let me down. I love her and I depend on what she is going to do for Africa.
All right. Would you like to say anything about your wife as she comes as valedictorian of our class?
Normally what others will say is that she's the best woman in the world. And I'm going to say so too. She's been really supportive, hardworking, dedicated, with a lot of conviction in the things that she believes in. And she will do anything to achieve whatever she thinks is right. She is African, and she believes that Africa is the best place. And I'm working with her to make sure that we make Africa the best place.
I stand before you as Mrs. Fatima Madubio, not as the First Lady, because today I just want to be an ordinary African woman. As an African woman, the challenges we have is beyond our imagination. And when I was asked to actually talk about how we link African women and women in the diaspora, I'm beginning to wonder how many African women have lights in their houses and mobile phones and nice clothing and beautiful cars, and you know, because that's the first thing you think about. How do you link this generation. We are young Africans, and I believe I was listening to Mr. Jallo talk about Nelson Mandela with pride and dignity. And in my head I'm thinking, I wonder where Nelson Mandela would have been if we don't have Winnie Mandela. So when we celebrate Nelson Mandela's achievement, we have to celebrate Winnie Mandela because they go together. Thank you. I am humbled to be here as an African woman again. Well, receiving an award from MIPAD is like crazy unbelievable, but I want to thank Camille for looking out for Africa. Sierra Leone is known for all the negative things you could imagine because that's what they want you to believe about our country. But what they fail to also talk about Sierra Leone is the fact that we have the most beautiful country in the world. Yes. Our beaches, people will pay any amount of money to spend a day or two in our beaches that we have. We have all the minerals you can imagine, but no, they won't celebrate that because they don't want you to come back to Africa and help us develop our continent. They will tell you, don't go there, it's Ebola. Well, we don't have Ebola anymore. They'll tell you, don't go there, oh, they have war. That's a long time ago, and I wonder who was selling the ammunition to the people who were trying to kill us. Women, we need to be able to support one another. You know, there's a thing called jealousy. The only person I'm jealous of is my husband. I don't like him smiling to other people. But I'm never jealous of seeing another woman grow. I want to see as many women as possible grow in our society. We have been branded as the dark continent for far too long. We have been branded as the poorest continent for far too long. The United Nations keep telling us that Africa is the new place for everything. They said we are the new place of everything. And this is the time for us Africans to take that opportunity and make use of it and make sure we prove to them that you are not just going to make us as statistics. You have made us statistics for far too long. It is now time for us to take our rightful place in society and the world and celebrate with other people, knowing full well that we are also part of this continent and we are also contributing to everything that is happening in the continent. Yeah. But then us Africans have to change again. We have to support. Do not just celebrate me because I am the First Lady. Believe you me, you have a lot of other women in Sierra Leone who are doing better than I am, who was so wonderful, and they deserve to be here. We have so many women in the whole of Africa. When MIPAD celebrate us here in New York, it would be nice to come to Sierra Leone and celebrate us in Sierra Leone too. Go to Nigeria and celebrate us in Nigeria. Go to Morocco and go to Gambia, go to Senegal. Celebrate us where we are known too. Because that's when you challenge us. You give us hope. And you make us believe that our work are not just done in vain. When you go out there and see the women that are struggling every day, our mothers who cannot have food on tables, but they will do everything to make sure their kids eat and go to school. And the way they struggle every day, the way women struggle in Africa. And we are the most deprived population. We are the ones that everybody tries to silence because we are women. How can you silence us when we are the asset that you have? There is no woman on this planet Earth who does not want to see their husband, their brother, or their father succeed. So when you empower a woman, you have empowered the whole continent. We don't just want to have statistics of, oh, you have one woman there, there's another one there, there's another one there. Give us the tool and show us the way. And then we will help to change Africa for you. I think we have allowed the men to lead for far too long. We need to now start having African first ladies, not just first ladies. But we need to have African first ladies that believe in the vision of African development. We need to have African first ladies that think beyond the glamour of just the siren and the security around them. Because the greatest advisor to a president is their wives. Everybody else will tell the president what they want to, what he wants to hear. But the wife will tell the president exactly what she thinks need to be done. In Africa, please, we need to have presidents in Africa. Women, don't avoid politics, because that is the easiest channel to change your continent. A lot of African women will say, oh no, I don't want to be part of politics. Believe you me, your voice will be heard. When you are the best designer in Africa, it will take you 10 years for people to hear your voice. When you're a politician, it will take you 2 days.
Exactly.
So let's start thinking about that route also. We don't want to go that route because we believe in power or we think we have to have power to celebrate ourselves. When you want to go to that route, make sure you're doing it not for yourself but for your people. The greatest achievement in this world, it's not about how many awards you have, it's how many lives you are able to change.
Yep.
Now, each and every one of them, I always like to say that, you know, the we is greater than the I, based on what we're building with MIPAD. All of this that you see, this global network we're building, this was MIPADians who all came together to make this happen. This was not me. This was you. Everything we've done was each one of us who are on the list. And I will acknowledge that. From the leadership training that we do throughout the 3 days of for the leadership development. Let's give Robinson Lean a big round of applause. You supported us with that. For the global recognition, it is because of you, UN fellows, that we do what we do. It's because of the International Decade for People of African Descent. That's why we're here, yes? So we celebrate you, we recognize you. This is not a I, this is about the we. So we really appreciate that, the work that each and every one of us did.